Okay, so for tonight's discussion demo, it's going to be bolt coring. You have all three major brands of bolt coring jigs here. First, John and Eric are going to talk about the one-way coring jig and the McNaughton, and then I'll tell you about my woodcut, and I'm actually going to, after I tell you about mine, I'm actually going to core a bowl to show you the workflow. So either Eric or John, okay, Eric, come over here and talk about yours. Get out of the way. Tell us how it works and answer questions. Let me get you around.
There is I've had this for over 20 years, but it hasn't changed. System comes with a couple different blades, different diameters, or radius, and different thicknesses in the body for different size bowls. I can't say I use them that often. I don't make that many bowls, but when I do, and it's a nice, expensive piece of wood, I like to core it, make multiple bowls out of it, or if it's a burl. Basically, it's the same, hasn't changed in 20 years, except for the holder here. I noticed they've changed it 3 or 4 times. Basically, just figure out where your path is. Mike brought in something that he's working to use, and that's trying to figure out where it's going to go inside the blank. I'll tell you that, in fact, I think 2 months ago I brought in some bowls that I had done, and they had pedestals on them, and I hadn't planned on it in the initial design, but basically when I cored it, I went a little too deep. So the bottom was kind of thin. And so, as a result, I asked for, I think it was Father's Day last year, they came out with a laser attachment. It's significantly more expensive than when I bought it 20 years ago. So it's $560 for the larger kit with all the different blades. And then it's $110 for the laser attachment. But I got it specifically with the idea that, hey, I wouldn't go through the bottom. I have never gone through the bottom, but making it thinner than what I wanted. And then the other thing is when you're coring, the little ones, they flop out. So just like this one here, you get down to the center, well, the laser tells me pretty much when I'm getting to the center. Then I turn it off, pull it out, and I give it a light tap with a hammer, and then break it off. I think that's easier than trying to watch it fly across the room. So, like I said, it works really well. I really like it. It does, when you're getting a big 20-inch blank and a larger diameter, there's a lot of friction. When you get a video with it, and it shows you where you're going to make the natural entrance a little wider than the bar. And you can do that until about 2/3 of the way through. Then the last third, it's kind of hard. And that last third is where you're getting a lot of friction going, especially on dry wood. So I like the laser. It's come in really handy. And it works great.
What's the name again?
McNaughton. It's the original one. Like I said, this was basically the only one on the market when I bought it 100 years ago. So.
And they come with different blades, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You get, like I said, different diameters. This happens to be the smaller one because the last one I did was relatively small. They've got larger diameters. They've got one that's a straight bar.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts there. So with each of these systems, they each have their own strength, and I know with the McNaughton, that's the one that I have. And like yourself, I've used it, not that much, although I haven't had it as many years as you have. But it's considered by many people to be the most versatile based on the shape, different lengths and shapes of the blades. But with that versatility comes some difficulty in trying to determine which blade to use for a particular size bowl blank. And also, how to position it for the start. Well, the tip has to be obviously where you draw on your line, where you want that bowl to separate from the adjacent one. But where you set up the tool rest, the tool post, which is the pivot point, that can be a tricky thing to try to figure out. If you set it too far to one side, it'll come out to the side of the bowl. If you set it too far to the other side, you may be too shallow in your blank. And so there are kinds of surprises you can end up with. I have a pretty large piece that's a funnel, which I've saved just to kind of help me not set up the tool with that exact same path, so I have a blank that same size.
Yeah, I usually take the blank and I lay the blade on top.
Yeah.
Kind of
And the tip, sharpening the tip, you may want to mention that, because that's a little different than the other systems too.
I'd say it, but it's hand. I use a file to get into the curve, and I use a file on the top.
I think they say it's not carbide, but it's steroid, I'm trying to remember. It's a hardened.
Yeah.
It's hard, it's
Stellite.
raised in. Yeah.
Stellite?
Stellite, that's what it is, yeah.
But it stays sharp. I've been using them like I said 20 years.
But it's a thin layer of that metal on the top, so you're not supposed to hone or sharpen the top because you wear that precious metal away. But you do hone the front edge.
Was it that shape when you got it
Yes.
to the point?
Yeah.
Because the original one was wide.
No, it's still a little wider than the.
They have made it both ways, yes.
No, I mean, it was square across nose, the cutting edge was square, and it was this way. Yeah, I think Mahoney had trouble with it and changed it, and then they changed it the way he did.
Well, that's
Well,
right.
it's been a while ago, because I just had to do it all the
So
time.
mine was square across.
If I
Well,
read
that's very much.
if I read correctly, if you wear the tip out, you can take that end and set it back to them and re-weld the tip on you for a charge.
Probably, yeah.
I think it's brazed, actually.
Well,
Anyway, I like it.
What's the procedure? Do you get the small bowl first, or do you get the big bowl then?
Small.
Believe it or not, the video shows you to do it either way. Then you get the challenge of how do you mount. And that's one of the reasons I like to snap them off, kind of like whoever did this one. Because then you got a little knob you can play with. Now, I don't find any advantages either way. I tried both ways. So I just kind of lazy.
If you
I
do
do
the
small
small,
curvature, do the small one, medium size, the medium bowl. I usually get it free out of it.
if you
I
do
usually make about
do
it.
the small one first, you can turn around, put it in this way, over your tailstock, and then put a tender on it.
Yeah, I'm not that brave.
And then when you bring it over, you're ready to do it the next one. You're ready to turn it, like you would regular.
Yeah.
You can turn each one out, turn it around, hold it, put a tender on it,
Yeah, some people like that.
yeah, then you grab it. But only 5 or 6 of them. That is amazing.
You want to pass it around or? Yeah, it's kind of big.
Okay.
You're welcome to look at it though.
So, I have a one-way and haven't used it that many times. It's about $480. And what I typically have done is, you see that this bowl's not really too round anymore. And that's what happens when you do it wet. That's why you got to cut it thick, like you can see over there, so that because they're definitely going to work. But the way I started out was I had the chunk of wood and I drilled a hole in the middle and put one of those auger screws in it, stuck it up against the chuck. You can see the black marks where it was hung into the chuck. Stuck it up there tight. Came in here with the tailstock and just cut a ring in it. Pulled it right out, flipped it over, stuck that chuck into this. Then I basically shaped my outside. The other thing I realized when I started doing it that you had to do it up on lower speed, more power. And the other thing that I did was loosen my belt a little bit. So if it did catch, really, it spun the belt a little bit rather than trying to throw this thing out of there, because there is a lot of friction as you get down in there. So, I ended up doing the small one first, which I probably won't really use that. And then, the second one. And then what I'll end up doing is, taking this and sticking it on a little 3-inch diameter core, stick it right on there, and put his tailstock right in there, and cut a tendon on the bottom. At this point, because now that it's dry and it's over, I'll do the same. I already have it on here. So anyhow, how this works is this basically, you screw it, you tie it into your lathe through here, and then what I do is I take my chuck, which is up here, say if this was my chuck, and I look at that distance before I even put a piece of wood in there, so I know how close to the bottom I'm going to be, okay? So, and then I mark that by putting a piece of wood between here and the housing of the motor, so that I know that if I bring this up to there, I'm not going to be able to go through the bottom, okay? So we do that. And then how this works is, you take this one.
Do you want to set it on the bed of the lathe?
Yeah, this is there.
Okay.
And bring it in, and this basically follows this going in. So when you start cutting into the wood, then you can keep on adjusting this and bring it in so that this actually follows this exactly. And this is your support. So
It actually touches it?
yeah, it actually touches you right across the top of it.
Okay.
And then the further you go in, then you just adjust this, bring in some more, and keep going in until it's all the way in. The other thing I found that by shooting water into it, it'll actually help keep it a little cooler, and it seems like it peels out a little better than, especially if it's a dry one. And let's do the same thing. This is actually, that's what's not matching up.
How water straight off?
Spray bottle. Yeah, this is the other one. That matches better. Yeah, this is for the larger diameter. So you got a 2 and a 2 on it. Okay. It's exactly the same thing. And then there's the tip on it. It's removable. You can buy new ones. And I haven't really sharpened this one yet. So it seems like it still works pretty good. You can adjust this handle out a little more. And just kind of follow right on in and goes in. And then you're right, when you get down the bottom, you just hit it over here like that, and this will just snap right out. And then so I throw them into a bag with the wet sawdust that comes off of the cutting, and just close it up, and that's it for a year or so. Any questions?
That cutter you have right there, on a reasonably hard wood, how long would that take to make a coring? Just a couple minutes?
Probably 5 minutes. You gotta keep on adjusting this in, turn it on, because you gotta keep on going like this. You gotta get the chips out.
It's not 40.
Oh, no. The hardest part is getting it all set up,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Once you have it set up and get ready to them. And I did these with this same one. You just pull it out a little less, and then you turn it, and then you go in a little deeper for the next one. And you can do like 3 bowls with this size. That's pretty much it.
Any downsides, John, of the system?
It's heavy. Who carried it for me? I had it in that bag. It's pretty heavy.
My wife's purse is heavy.
Huh?
My wife's purse is heavy.
Yeah. But it is pretty heavy.
But I mean, I think maybe isn't the cost of getting additional blades, the sets, a little bit more than, let's say, if not where you have just a blade, here you've got pure pieces.
Yeah. And I haven't bought a blade, so I don't know what the new ones, the new replacement blade. It's just cut right off of now. So.
You line that right up, you're covered with the center line?
Center line. Yeah.
How do you adjust the height?
It's got a screw with an Allen screw on the bottom, and you just tighten it up, lock it in with this nut. The same thing on that.
Okay, cool.
I think one advantage of that one is that it does provide support for the tool all the way into the front, so you have less chattering, it's more stable, and you don't feel like it's going to flip you over the blade.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
That's why I loosened that belt a little bit, make sure it's going to jam up. When I didn't change the belt at first, I was running at a higher stroke, at a high speed, then all of a sudden it was going to throw my override out on how to keep on resetting it, so I just went to change belts. And
What RPM?
I don't really remember. I don't have an RPM on it, but it wasn't that fast.
And we do sell the Sorby.
What's that?
Sorry, so they sell the one over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's where, that was a gift for it. I think that's what it got.
Yeah, we used to sell the McNaughton, but it's been kind of difficult to get. I'm not sure if we're still working with them.
Okay?
Any more questions on either of those two systems? Okay. Talk about the Woodcut. This is the Woodcut Max 3 system. Yeah, I'll put these back.
Yes,
into
take whoever's gonna take one.
The Woodcut Max 3 system, it's an upgrade from the original system. The Max 3 has 3 blades, as you can see. There's three curved blades, the largest is on it right now. Before I go into actually mounting it and setting it up, let's talk about this bowl. This is what I've been working on tonight. Actually, this this monster here. This is white oak. I turned and cored this on Monday, just 2 days ago. The original blank that I turned this from weighed 68 pounds, so I didn't really want to bring it in to core it. So I thought I'd core it at home, and then tonight I'm going to core the core. This was the core that came out of this, so tonight I'll go ahead and work on this. So after I cored this, it takes a little bit of cleaning up on the inside. The curve of the blade never quite matches the curve of the exterior, so there's a little bit of cleanup, not too much. You can see there's a tenon on the bottom. So the first thing I did was I mounted this on my lathe, excuse me, with my largest faceplate, 8-inch faceplate with 30 machine screws, because it was heavy. Turned the exterior, put a tenon on it, and then mounted it and cored it. So tonight we'll take the core. Before I cored it, while it was mounted on the lathe, I turned this rebate, okay, because you'll need this later. Actually, we'll need this right now because I'm going to very quickly mount this on here. And last night, thank you. After I cored this, I did that Monday. I did this yesterday. I finished this yesterday and put the tenon on it. So you have this rebate in here, so you can, after the core pops out, you put it on here, and then you make a nice tenon. So you don't have, instead of having this, which is what it did look like, you put a nice tenon on it like this. And the reason I'm putting this in here now, I'm just going to take a second. I coated this entire thing in anchor seal, and I'm just going to take a little quick pass on here and get the wax off of here. I'm just going to trim just a little bit off here just to take the wax off. So it'll probably be fine because it is dovetail tenon, but it doesn't hurt to be sure. That should do it. Okay. Now, there we go. Now I'll go ahead and set this up, flip this around. So now that the Pen hopefully isn't slippery. Move this around. Some more. I see this one. Yeah, this is white oak. I mentioned it. Right? This is white oak. It's fairly wet. Even the tree was taken down in February, actually, but it's okay. So this is locked in. Nice and tight. Okay. Now to set up the woodcut. It's also heavy. Goes in the banjo, like so. I've already adjusted the height of it. It was this lays a little bit higher than mine, so I adjusted the center line already. You bring the tailstock up. Now this, like John mentioned, this actually takes the longest. Once this is set up, it actually goes pretty fast. One nice thing about this system, the thing that I like, is it locks in at the banjo and also the tailstock. So that doesn't move. Okay. I guess that should be okay. So it ends up being a pretty stable platform once everything's locked in.
And doing the alignment is to try and get on the
Yes.
mark line and the center.
Yeah, so the idea is, also another part of the setup is I've got the large blade in here, which is too large for this size bowl. So I will show you how to change blades because I have to change the blade.
And the size of the blade is determined on the size of the block.
Right. So I use the largest blade to turn the that 18-inch. So now I'm going to just quickly remove this large blade and put the medium-sized blade in. Because the arc of this blade is too big for this size bowl. This is about 13, I think, 13 inch. So large blade comes out. These blades also have the cellite tip, cutting tip, brace on the end. So this just slides in there like that.
How much is the system?
I think it was $475. It comes with all three blades. It comes with everything you see here. That's another disadvantage. Actually, it's hard to get. They're made in New Zealand. It's almost always on back order. I had to wait, I think, 3 months for mine. 3 or 4 months. It took quite a while.
What made you go through the wait and pick from New Zealand over the one-way system?
I just like the Max 3 was like the newest iteration of this. I liked it. I mean, I researched it quite a bit. I was YouTube videos, and I really looked into it quite a lot. I just liked the way the design of this one. I thought it seemed to me like the best one. Oh, also this handle comes off. This is actually a 1/2-inch ID handle, tool handle. So there's an Allen screw here, so this handle comes right off, and you can use it for a tool if you wanted to. So, okay, so the blade's on. Now I'm going to slide this back over here. Unlock this. Just get this roughly in place. Okay, so this system also has a laser system that I did not buy. This is my laser system. This was a a laser pointer from Walmart. I think it was $2.50. And this is oak. So I've got 3 holes in the arm here, 1 for each blade. So basically all you're doing is you're tracking the arc of the blade. And this is just for the setup portion. You just need to track track the arc of the blade so you know where you're at. For the medium blade, we switch to the middle hole here. We turn the laser pointer on with the clothespin, and the laser is hitting the blade, and see, that's way too far in there. So pull this out. Okay, that's too far. So I want to leave about, I have this marked already. I think I have it marked at about inch and 3/4, inch and a half, inch and 3/8. So what I want to do is, so this is marking the arc of the blade. You got to keep checking, make sure see every time you move it, you got to make sure the starting point is back where you want it to be. So there's the starting point of that. Check the arc again. So I want this to be about 1.5 inches, inch and 3/8 from the base of the tenon. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball that there, and that's pretty much, that looks like that's about right. So you can't see it, but my laser pointer is hitting right here. And so this is just my way of kind of eyeballing this. I'm going to back it off just a little bit. I like leaving a little extra on the bottom because usually you almost always end up taking off some more to the bottom. Make sure that's, see, that's not seated all the way right.
It just came off again.
Get it? Yeah. Gonna get this seated. Okay. Yeah, that seems like that's seated now. Okay. Now let me check, see where I'm at here. Okay, that's the entry point is still good. Once I get this all set up, the actual pouring takes about 5 minutes. So we'll get moving here pretty quickly. Okay, so I'm about 1 3/8 there from the top of the tenon, base of the tenon. That's probably pretty good.
That's going to be the thickness of your bottom, shall we say?
Yes, yeah. So that's the thickness I had marked out here on the edge. Now, and the arc, I can see the arc it's gonna be a little thick here in the meat of it, but I'll clean that up.
Overall, the bowl you're cutting out, that'll be about yay deep. Is that by your arc?
Yeah. Well, for roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
But after it dries, and I'll. But yes, it'll be kind of. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, then because I want to leave it nice and thick. Well, about 1 3/8. Yeah, so that's probably pretty good there. I'm going to tighten everything down. That's tight. And that's tight. That's down. That's locked. That's locked. And that. Yeah, that's going to give you plumb in the bottom. You can see that. Just check one more time real quick. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right, so now once it's locked in like this, you no longer need the laser. You can turn that off.
That was just the setup.
That's all. Yeah, because then once everything's locked in, the blade is going to be on that arc.
That's the only travel can be.
Yeah, that's it.
Unless you change it,
gonna
then you set it.
Right, unless something gets knocked loose, the arc of that blade is not going to change. So you only need the laser just for the initial setup.
Okay.
Once that's done, if anyone wants to look at this, it's pretty simple like this, just laser pointer and 2 pieces out of it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it worked really well. Yeah, they want $100 for one, you can buy one today.
Pretty nice when you make it work, right?
Yeah. So like I said, all you have to do is follow the arc of the blade, and that's pretty simple. So, okay. Usually when I do this at home, I have compressed air. I meant to ask about it here, but I forgot. But that's fine. I think I should be okay. Well, we need to keep pulling the blade in and out to keep it clear. I wouldn't do this on dry wood. This wood is still fairly wet.
That looks really low. I'm like, are you trying to be on, are you trying to be on,
Pardon?
are you trying to be on center? Maybe it's just what I said, but it looks like you're almost an inch low.
The blade?
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
It's pretty on center. The blade is supposed to be on center.
Okay, I'm seeing it. The blade tip isn't quite where, I've seen the bottom of the frame.
Yeah. I set it up in a hurry when I got here, but yeah, when you first set it up, you're supposed to put a spur tip, a spur in your spindle, and then line the blade up.
And that back pretty well sets your center line.
Pardon?
Putting it in the-
Yes, exactly, yeah. So yeah, it's like a double check, yeah. If it's not lined up, this wouldn't line up.
How many horse machine you have at home, Joe?
I think it's the Powermatic 3520. I think it's 2 horse.
2 horse.
I think it's 2. Yeah. Yeah, you want to go slow. It is a and just real quick, usually about halfway through or a couple times, I just make sure that this hasn't come loose at all. Finesse it, don't take your time, don't force it, just let the blade, let it do the work. Oops.
Joe, your pivot point on the tool, is it adjustable? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you mean, Justin?
Put your hand, it looks like it's got a lot of, put your hand on.
I checked the tightnesses.
Oh, okay.
It is tight, it should be.
But
yeah, here's your question.
Your thing, it looks like it's,
Yeah, there's a little bit of slop there.
Okay.
But this is tight.
Torque there.
Yeah. But yeah, this, you can tight, I mean, I did check that, it does feel
Alright.
tight. Yeah, that's a good question. about, I don't know, halfway, 2/3 of the way through, you start going into end grain, and you'll notice you get much more resistance and chatter. It's definitely noticeable. When the blade makes the turn and starts cutting into end grain, it's definitely harder.
Right there, you put that above the blade that we put.
Yeah, I just keep blowing out the groove. I just keep blowing crap out of here. And, yeah.
You can only make one size pass, right?
Yes.
Whatever the width that is.
Yes.
Like with knot, you could sneak in there
Yes.
and move over and go next to it, so you got a little more slop.
That's correct. Yes.
This is.
But I've never really had really any trouble
Right.
with that
But
because
you can make
it's a
one.
perfect arc.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
And the looking down on the blade is wider than the arm here.
Right. Wide spark.
Yes. I'm trying to gauge where I am in the button.
Don't worry, Eric will catch it.
What I should do, what I've been meaning to do is at some point I'll make a mark on the armature here, on the arm. You know, when there's not a bowl here, turn it in so the tip is like at the halfway point and put a mark here so I know how much travel I've gone.
You're walking a little elevation, you know exactly where you are.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
Well,
just
that's
take a
your
magic
own.
marker and put some marks on here, you know, right to reference, you know, halfway point. Yeah, at home I have dust collection, of course. I have a hood here, dust collection hood, and compressed air. I'm wearing a respirator. So, once you get in there, you know, a ways you can stop and start pushing on the edge to see if there's any play, to see how close you are. There's none yet.
You think the cutter might need honing?
It probably wouldn't hurt. I can't remember the last time I sharpened this one. Try that.
What is the cutter? The carbide or just?
It's stellite.
Stellite.
Stellite. I'm not sure. So to sharpen these, you just sharpen the face of it. So.
Yeah. On yours, you got the bottom follower. How far do they say the cut between you and the follower?
Mine doesn't have a problem.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When I push it all in, so I hit it back up.
Okay.
That's one thing about the mountain, but I pull it out and actually move it a little bit, make it lighter. The cut lighter, just cut down the friction, but when you get all the way in the back, it's,
Yeah, you can't open it up.
coarser grit on there. So. Oh, when you do this, you want to look at what direction you're graining. So you're going to be pushing against, like if I'm pushing here, the grain should be going this way in order to snap it off. Yeah, nothing.
Got your dead blow hammer there, you can tap it.
That's true. It's starting to move. I think we're almost there. You notice the sound changes too when you're getting close to. There we go. Here you go. So this will be bowl number 3, shallow bowl. Theoretically, I could core this. This is not worth my time, so I'll just go ahead and hollow that. We have plenty of time. I can continue and show you how to clean this up.
You use a gouge or you use that system?
No, I'll just use I got my gouges down here. I'll just clean it up. Gouge.
How smooth is that surface?
It's actually pretty smooth. Yeah. But the profile is wrong, so I'm going to have to go in and...
Thick down here.
Yeah, the profile is wrong, so I need to go in and clean up...
Yeah, it's not a matter of smoothness.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You don't have that right.
Yeah, the arc of the blade never really matches the... what am I doing?
So the arc of the blade determines the profile, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're limited to that.
Right.
There again. You can only make one sheet bowl. Yeah.
Well, you can adjust it. Yeah, you can only cut out that shape, exactly. So that is a limitation. There you go.
But just imagine how much shavings you have on the floor. You only get that
Oh,
one big
yeah.
bowl. Yeah, you got that, those other bowls, man, that's.
Say 2 bowls out of 2 ways.
Yeah, so yeah, one blank, three bowls. So it'll be 3.
That would have been, chips as far as mine goes.
Yeah, you don't have to lock them like that.
I should have brought my bigger tool rest. Yeah, that might work.
Magnifying glass out.
For inside. That's not ideal, but it'll work. Sure.
It is backwards and
Yeah, this is an outside curve. And you're gonna have a hard time trying to come around on it.
Didn't they have a tool rest with us?
I brought my own. I didn't want anything of theirs.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll. Yeah, that's gonna get in my way.
Yeah, you're not gonna go out.
Get rid of the lid first here. Now I wanna, like I said, I wanna try to get the wall the same thickness. It's a little thick right there still.
Show them the grinds on the tools there.
Yeah, this is my bottom feeder. This has a 40-degree grind. No. This is a regular Ellis grind. It's 60 degree. These are both 60 degrees. Both around 55, 60 degrees on these. This one has a little flatter face, so I use it for the bottoms. If that makes sense. Right as I'm hitting this. This isn't the best tool rest for this cut. The new tool. That's pretty good. That's, now we're close enough, with a consistent wall thickness. And that's pretty much all I do. Now, I get home, I'll seal the interior and put it in a bag. And this one, just deal with it. This is my workflow. So what I'll do now with the core, look at that.
Yeah.
Went
dried out, put it back up to finish it, where do you think you're gonna end up as far as your wall?
Like probably 3/8 to half inch. Yeah. I don't like making my walls too thin on a bowl this big. You know, I like having some beef to it. A little thicker at the bottom, a little weight on the bottom.
So what will you do when you take that and it's all out of shape now and that bottom tenon is not turn all around? What will you do?
I have to use a jam chuck.
Alright.
A jam chuck here, bring the tailstock up, and just turn the tenon back around. First thing you do is turn the tenon back to round. Then you flip it over and continue with the.
You take that off while it's on there, put a dead center mark.
Yeah, that's what I always try to do.
Right.
Yes.
Then when you
Yes.
gotta do it again, you put whatever you put up on there, put
Yes.
stuff, put in the drawers, all that liner, put that on the chuck or something, and then put, you got a center. Start with.
Yes,
You put it
exactly.
close to where you want it.
Yes, that's
Make
that.
your tenon big the first time, so you can cut it down true the second time, and it won't be too small.
Yes, that does make it easier to do that. So with this now, the third core, what I'll do is, what we need to do now is make a tenon, put a tenon on here. First I'll clean up the bottom actually a little bit. So I usually make my tenons around 130 to 140 millimeters. I'm trying to remember at home I have a little chart at home that tells me the minimum and the maximum.
Right. Then you won't get in trouble.
Yeah, for my chuck, because I don't like changing chuck jaws, so I like to, you know.
And you hate to go to a small
Right.
tenon anyway.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the minimum 10, I think it's like 125, try to make it 125. Just on the safe side. So that's about there. Not really, this one. So what I'm doing, first I'm flattening, pretty flat on the bottom here, for the hole cut. So just to have it flat. I'm going to make this like 125. Wow. That's actually right where it needs to be, so I'm just going to cut it there. So to make the tenon, I used one of the Axe carbide tools. Works really well for me. And then we can clean this up here. So I get a somewhat decent curve here for this plate. Shallow bowl plate. I'm just trying to get, fairly pleasant curve here. Again, I'm roughing it out. See, this is a rough out, so you don't want to obsess too much about it. I mean, that's pretty much all you need to do. There's your third bowl blank, and might as well keep going, right? We have a few minutes. Just, now we have 10, hopefully it's the right size. There we go. Now this is about 9.5 inches, so using the 10% rule, I want my bowl to be about a little less than an inch. Yeah, about an inch. So,
Drying.
yes, for drying, because it's going to distort, it's going to turn into an oval, of course, as it dries. So, I used to have my control on this, I shouldn't switch this now. It's a nice lathe. So there's about an inch and long tool rest. And this is going to be real shallow because to keep an inch there, I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit and make it very shallow. It's going to be basically a plate. That's okay. So, that's pretty much it. I think I have about an inch. You got screw holes in the bottom. Oh, snap! Oh, from the faceplate. The screw holes went too far. Yeah.
Oh.
You know what? Yeah, that might.
You have a designer bowl now.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 of the screws I used were a little longer than the other 27.
That's on the inside, so it's not the outside.
It might come out.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going in about that far. I think I'll be able to turn that away after it's dry. Yeah.
Kirk always says.
Exactly. I'll be able to. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to turn that away. And I can even use the template to make a foot.
You hear John's recommendation, put turquoise in it.
Creative job.
Drill bigger.
So,
Just make a ring going around it and build a whole
Yeah.
turquoise.
the last thing I usually do is I like to ease the
Vowels in and then turn it off.
Yeah, I like to ease these sharp edges. One of our demonstrators from a year or so ago, what was his name?
Cut his finger.
Dale Larson?
Dale Larson, thank you. Yes, Dale Larson always recommended easing these sharp corners because he said that's where your cracks will start. Your crack will start on a sharp edge. So I just very quickly just round that over. I forgot to do that on the other one, but,
You could sand it. we get-
yeah. I can remount it too, it still has the tennis agreement. So that's pretty much, that's it. So 3 bowls, coring system. Any questions on the coring system or the workflow? I mean, it's pretty much the entire workflow there from, except for the big one.